and this might be the most uncredible thing that I could think of, but mainly because it's so low level and they're so comfortable doing this that it's at a point to where it bothers me. But like I mentioned last week, whenever you hear the same phrase thrown around, different media outlets by leaders, they've constructed that intentionally for a reason. It might be so that they can't be held liable for something. It might be so they can look good. It might just be they want to saturate the news cycle with that term or that phrase. Whatever the reason is, it's propaganda. And the thing that's been standing out to me that nobody has really questioned, at least nobody I've interacted with, like, I listen to podcasts, I scroll through X and I see all the conspiracy theories and stuff, is the number of documents that were released. It's like, have you ever thought about what 3 million really is? We have trillions of dollars of debt. We know Trump is a billionaire, and we throw numbers like billions and trillions around like they're ones and twos. And so what I did, and I'll try to show these images on the video stream, is I had ChatGPT create for me a slide by slide, 4 slides, just sort of showing what 3.5 million documents actually looks like. And the reason I did this was back in the day when in politics the big thing was the debt being super high, trillions of dollars. There was this really great animated video that just kept zooming out infinitely, showing how much cash, I think it was 1 trillion, it might have been 10 trillion, I don't know what the debt was back then. But it just zoomed out, and at the end of it, you had all these pallets sitting in a football field or next to an airplane, and the visual was just kind of like, wow, that's a lot of debt. And I keep hearing this number, 3.5 million documents, and I'm going, that's a lot of documents. Like the fact that they've gone through, I don't know if they used AI to go through them or if they had just hundreds of employees going through it, but I had ChatGPT also do the math on how long it would take for an individual to read these documents. And I think it was something like 12 or 14 years if you just read 24/7, 7 days a week nonstop. And it was like 51 years if you just like punched in every day to read these documents. And I'm sitting there going like 51 years. And what occurred to me was, what are the chances that these files are even legitimate, or that number's even legitimate? I mean, I should have done this too. Like, how long does it even take to figure out that there are 3.5 million documents? I used to, when I published my book was like 240 pages. This was back in 2015, 2014. Oh, I guess I was writing it in 2013. I remember trying to print the 240 pages, and I don't know if you've ever done a large document in Microsoft Word, but I crashed. It might have been this computer that I'm using right now, because I haven't updated my computer in like a decade or more. But I clicked print, and when you click print in Microsoft, it brings up a preview of, like a print preview. And some people are listening to me going, well, duh. But what was crazy was when you have a single document that the computer tries to create a print preview of, it was crashing the computer. Of course, that's older technology. We've got better technology, but with better technology comes with better quality, higher quality stuff, and the need for more resources, et cetera, et cetera. The idea, like if I were to drop a 3.5 million page document into a modern computer, and I'm talking about the modern computer you get at Walmart, not the modern supercomputer that these guys build for their gaming. That's a different thing. Like, what would it even be able to do that? And then, like, printing the document. Like, when I did that 240 page document, it was like print and then go about your day and come back and hope it worked. And by the way, the printer, it's off camera, but that printer that I definitely printed it on is right next to me right now. Like, all my technology is old because I've taken care of it and I keep up with it. But the sheer volume of this idea of 3.5 million documents is just completely insane. It's completely insane. And so for me, when I look at the news of the release of these Epstein files, I'm just sort of like blown away by how, there's a lot of like intricacies you can get into of which person shows up and should that person be in these files and what does it mean to actually be in the files. I saw, I think Colbert and Jon Stewart joking about the fact that their name comes up, in the files as somebody referencing them as an example, right? They're not actually actively involved with it, but they're in there. And it's like, where did we get the number 3.5 million? Because the logistics on that, I don't know, maybe they put it in a document feeder and it counted it and it's a rough estimate. But man, when you start throwing around numbers like that, I'll show the images, but if you're an individual conspiracy theorist type person and you've committed to really getting into this, it's going to take you half your life to really read and get the context of what's going on. And I don't know how organized it is. I don't know how logical it is. I don't know how much stuff, like it could be files of over the years of all of his court cases. I don't know what's in there, but it could just be repeated stuff of testimonies just repeated over and over at different court cases, and they just dumped it on us. It kind of feels like something that they're using to say, I feel like in the not too distant future, we will hear the line, we've released more documents than any administration in the history of the U.S. And they're going to use that 3.5 million document as the proof. And people in general are going to be like, oh yeah, they did. But the majority of these documents may be completely worthless, useless, duplicates, whatever. It's just, on the one hand, it's impressive that they released them. On the other hand, it raises questions as to what's useful information and whether or not that information is even worth. It's going to keep people, conspiracy theorists, going for the next 30 to 40 years while they continue to do what they're doing in those files that we don't know about because they're in the other files. And then another huge amount of files will be released in 20, 30, 40 years. And those same types of people will get into that, and they will just continue to have this like 20, 30, 40-year buffer between them and anyone ever finding out what they're doing.
No quit, no quit, no quit. Building their wall. Building their wall. While they talk about us. All they talk about us. Educated. Experienced. Still not credible. So we embraced it. Now we're uncredible.